Peace and blessings to the family. It is me, Coach 67 Sports TV. Shout out to the awesome and amazing LDBC, Lions and Boston community. Shout out to the Louisiana All-American Sports Network. And shout out to the greatest university in the world, the Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars. This is Season 1, Episode 16 of the Tailgate Party. The Tailgate Party. Y'all just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. You dig? Okay. Before I get everything going, let me do sound check real quick, and then we're gonna get this show on the road. You dig? Okay, we ready? Let's get it going. Let's see who's starting us off. Relaxing, calm, rain. He says salute, coach, chat, HBCU family, and Jaguar Nation. Salute to your relaxing, calm, rain. Relaxing, calm, rain said Southern's 22nd head football coach, Marshall Faulk. Yes, sir. Relaxing, calm, rain said JSU fans don't start a civil war in our chat tonight. He said just good swag football talk. Go Jags. I hear you relaxing, Conrad. Motivation to be a millionaire. He said, salute Coach 67, chat, HBCU family, and Jaguar Nation. He also said, new coach, but let's get back to our championship ways. Oh, I agree with you 100%. Motivation to be a millionaire said, I agree. Good vibes only. No JSU and Deion Sanders talk like the other night. Good vibes only. Yeah, I hear you. He said, don't ruin the good vibes. Go Jags. Yes, sir. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Relaxing, calm, rain, and motivation to be a millionaire. And I just want y'all to know it's been a long day for me. So I'm going to be here for a good time, not a long time. So the Tailgate Party, Season 1, Episode 16. So we about to dive into it. Just let me check on something real quick and we're going to get it going. All right. Episode 16, the Tailgate Party. Welcome back to the Tailgate Party. Episode 16 of the Tailgate Party. You're home for all things Southern University football. In this episode, I break down Southern's thrilling 28-27 upset victory over Grambling in the 52nd Annual Bayou Classic. I share my final thoughts on the game, the turning point that shaped the Jaguars' comeback, and what this win means for the program moving forward. Plus, I give my full reaction to Marshall Faulk's introductory press conference as he officially steps in as Southern University's next head football coach. From his message to Jaguar Nation to the vision he laid out for the future, we dive into what fans should expect in this new era of SU football. We're building Jaguar Nation one subscriber at a time, and I'm just 25 subscribers away from the 1,000 subscriber mark. So join the family today. Join the Jaguar Nation and HBCU family. Like the video. Drop your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section. Where does the 52nd Annual Bayou Classic rank for you? What impact will Marshall Faulk have on SU football? Subscribe to Coach 67 Sports TV for weekly HBCU and Southern University content. Share the episode with Jaguar Nation. share it with Facebook groups. Someone you know that's a diehard member of Jaguar Nation like you and I are on your social media platforms. So that's the description for tonight's episode of the Tailgate Party. Uh, let's see who else we got in the chat. Man, salute to my brother Jay Good. Salute. I'm gonna talk about this little conversation he and I, have been having behind the scenes. It's crazy, but I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time on, my breakdown of the Bayou Classic. I pretty much did that with the Let's Go After show. But more than anything, I thought it was gonna be a close game. For individuals that was saying that Grambling was gonna blow Southern out, like I never saw it because, coming into Saturday's game, Grambling had 7 wins, but of those 7 wins, 3 were against Division II opponents, and one of those Division II opponents who lost in the Division II playoffs week before last, you cheated that team to win. So I didn't understand why they were just so pumped up and just beating on their chest. I guess they just thought Southern was gonna come into the Bayou Classic and lay down. They were just gonna roll over Southern, and it didn't happen. I mean, I never saw that perspective. I never saw it happening in that fashion. I always thought it was gonna be a close game. Now, even though it was a close game and Southern won by 1 point, people might think I'm crazy for saying this, but literally, that was the best game Southern played the entire season. And they only won by 1 point. So it kind of goes to show like how tough of a season it was for Southern. And in addition to that, I've been saying this for most of the season. Bad teams find a way to lose games. And in all actuality, like instead of finding a way to lose, they found a way to win at the end. So I'm proud of every player that stepped out on that field, that played, that strapped it up for the Jags. I just want y'all to know y'all are greatly valued. Y'all are greatly appreciated. Even though this season did not go, the way Jaguar Nation and myself would have hoped, I'm still proud that they laid it all on the line and they played the way they played. Now, somebody asked me this earlier today, like, where does this Bayou Classic rank all time for me? I'm not even gonna lie, truthfully speaking. This Bayou Classic Saturday is not even in my top 5. And I'm not just saying that because this has been such an abysmal season for Southern. The reason I say this is because, like, towards the end of the game, they had a little juice in the building. They had some electricity in the building. But compared to, like, the 90s, man, I'm not even gonna lie. If hiring Marshall Faulk could get you back to those days in terms of that level of a championship caliber team and having that much electricity and juice in the building for the Bayou Classic, if it gets you to that point, yes, I'm all for it. But Saturday's game, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it had a little buzz in the building, had a little juice in the building, a little electricity in the building, but it was nothing compared to those 90s, like 93, 95, 97, 98, 99. Like, it don't even compare to those years. So, I'll probably say probably about 99 probably was my favorite. Maybe 98 after that. I think 02, 03, 04, 2014. Like, all of those years rank ahead of this past Bayou Classic on Saturday. So, they've had some good classics over the years. And I'm not even gonna lie. I could say Saturday's game, especially at the end, it was exciting. It was exciting, I'm not gonna lie, but it still pales in comparison to some of those much better Bayou Classics I've been to over the years. So, you know, just to kind of cap my Bayou Classic like experience in terms of how it compares to Bayou Classics over the years. It was a good classic. I'm not even gonna lie. You know, Southern came back, they pulled one out the fire. Most of the season, they would have found a way to lose that game, and instead, they found a way to win it. So, like I said, hats off to the players, even to the coaches. And Saturday leading up to the game, I talked about the importance of finishing on a strong, positive note because we know FAMU. I said it Saturday night. You know, I haven't heard anything official yet, but let's just keep it a buck. James Coles ain't coming back. So, I know FAMU looking at a lot of coaches. More than likely, Fred McNair won't be in that group, but I think the way he finished the season, I think teams going to consider him and going to give him a look, you know what I'm saying? Joseph David, he said, for me, nothing will top 2003, but this year's game was entertaining. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was entertaining. I always thought it was gonna be a close game, but I did pick Grambling to win. I'm not even gonna lie. Let's keep it a buck. Yeah, I did pick Grambling to win by 1 point. I picked them to win 20-21. And the irony is they lost by 1 point, 28-27. 2003, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. 2003 was a good year. To me, 99 was my year. I'm not gonna lie. Like that 99 Bayou Classic, Southern was down 31-10. Troy Williams was starting quarterback, not getting it done. He started doing a little bit something. He started doing a little something. Started moving the team down the field. He got hurt. Terrence Levy came in, and that's kind of all she wrote. Everything was downhill from there. And then to put the icing on the cake, the late Aries Brown, he rest in peace. He came back. He got this interception at the end of the game to pretty much seal the deal. So, that's probably my favorite Bayou Classic of all time, 99. 98 was pretty good, too. 90, 99, 98, 02, 03, 04. 04, they stopped Alquan on the 1 yard line last play of the game. Hugh Jackson I think that was Hugh Jackson's second year. They had a goal line stand with him, too. So Southern had Southern is synonymous in these games for rising up defensively and making stops at the end of the game. And like I said, I mean, they've had some good seasons, some excellent, phenomenal Bayou Classics. But my personal opinion, I think 99 is at the top of that list in terms of my favorite Bayou Classic. But moving forward, because I'm not even going to lie, like I said earlier, I had a long day today at work. So, it's going to be, I'm going to be here for a good time, not a long time. Cat Attack 3396. What's good on? Man, salute to your family. But Southern University has made it official. They had the introductory press conference for the 22nd head coach, Marshall Faulk. And I'm not going to lie, you got a lot of content creators in the space talking about it. Scotty talked about it earlier. He streamed it live. Later on, again, him and Perry White came back. I'm almost certain they're going to talk about it on Swack and the Fool. And just a variety of different HBCU content creators going to touch on it. I'm gonna talk about a lot in these next few days in terms of the coaching staff, just a lot of things. And, I just want to give a major shout out to everybody that that came up to me, showed love on Saturday. Tedron Leathers, just a variety of different people. I think maybe about 5-6 people came up to me Saturday. Man, what's up, Coach? Man, I enjoy your content. Whoop the woo. I just want y'all to know y'all are greatly valued and greatly appreciated. You know what I'm saying? So, the reason why I say that is because, not only have people asked, like, hey, what's my thoughts on a Bayou Classic Saturday, but like, hey, what do you think of the Marshall Faulk hire? How do I think it's gonna, move the program forward? For the most part, I'm not gonna lie, I can't speak to other content creators and on other channels, but overwhelmingly, I'm gonna keep it a buck. On my channel, like I've been getting a lot of positive feedback. And a few people that was kind of down on the hire, they wanted like Trey Holly. Not got me saying Trey Holly. I'm tripping. That's why I said it's been a long day. Couple people wanted Trey Oliver. They wanted Trey Oliver from North Carolina Central. But to me, it kind of seems like Trey Oliver was kind of leveraging North Carolina Central and Southern against each other. And more than anything, he was using Southern as leverage to get a contract extension from North Carolina Central. And I always knew it was going to be hard to get Trey Oliver from North Carolina Central and Berry from South Carolina State. So I knew that was going to be difficult. So you got those two. You also, I didn't even know, Deshaun Jackson was in the running. So, I mean, hey, you got some heavy hitters, So at the end of the day, I'm supporting the move of getting Marshall Faulk. And at the press conference, that the jukebox, you had cheerleaders, you had the great Aeneas Williams, you had Avery Johnson, of course you had Tony Clayton, Joseph Davis said, was glad to see Avery Johnson and Aeneas Williams at the press conference to welcome their homeboy, Coach Marshall Faulk. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, And truthfully speaking, I didn't get to see it all in its entirety because, I was at school. I was able to come and check out some of it after the fact. I really didn't get to, watch it the way I wanted. But for the most part, I watched what I watched. And, he didn't say anything outrageous. He didn't give any opposing teams bulletin board material. However, the fact that, I don't know, I think it was Avery Johnson or Aeneas Williams, one of the two, was like, basically, hey, they want to win the Celebration Bowl next year. And I'm like, hey. I mean, I think you should have a positive mindset. Should think the team will do well and gonna have some good expectations for them. But let's not jump out the window, because already behind the scenes, a couple of people have told me like, hey, Marshall Faulk need to win the SWAC championship his first year at Southern, the way Pete Richardson did his first year at Southern. And I'm like, you're comparing apples to oranges. Like, this team that Marshall Faulk is taking over, it has some talent, but man, you cannot compare this current team to the 93 team that Coach Pete Richardson took over. I mean, Marino Chasm and Gerald Kimball had players on that team. And that was a senior heavy team that Coach Richardson was taking over. And the irony is they only lost one game that year to Nickel State at John Gidry Stadium in Thibodeau. Just was so heated. You call a quarterback sneak on the 1 yard line with a solid count, something you hadn't done all year. And then, they went 6-5 the next year. Then the year after that, 95, you win the SWAC championship and the Black National Championship. And your only loss that year was at the vet against Jackson State. So it's like, hey, man, salute to Kendrick Wicker, 88-28. He said we need an elite quarterback for start. No, that's the first thing. That should be his first priority. And I'm gonna talk about like the coaching staff, how he needs to put it together, so on and so forth. but he needs an elite level quarterback. And I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking, hey, you know, Cameron McCoy, he played decent. And then I look at his numbers, and he was 6 of 18, and I'm like, wow. I mean, but the thing I can say about him is he made some good timely throws. So, hats off to him. But that's the first thing Southern need is an elite level quarterback. You need somebody the likes of Bryant Lee, of Eric Randall, senior season Quincy Richard, Austin Howard, Terrence Levy, Dre Joseph, Austin Howard. You need Sam George. Like, you need just a dog at quarterback. I mean, an elite level SWAT quarterback. I mean, somebody that's gonna be extremely productive. And I mean, you know, had so many good SWAT quarterbacks over the years. Like, literally, I've seen Steve A. McNair, Tavares Jackson, and Devontae Kincaid, and like I said, Bryant Lee, Austin Howard, Dre Joseph. Like, Southern needs a Dre Joseph, Bryant Lee, Eric Randall, senior season Quincy Richard type of cat to take over the helm. That's the first thing that Marshall Faulk needs. And, one of the 20 Southern University Facebook groups I was in, they were saying that supposedly Marshall Faulk is bringing in 2 elite level quarterbacks in one of the Southern University Facebook groups that I'm in. So, hopefully that's a real thing and that's just not mouth lip service, you know what I'm saying? Joseph Davis said he didn't do a stump and guarantee an undefeated season. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm glad he didn't give, nobody no bulletin board material, you know what I'm saying? Because, you can't make all these lofty expectations because guess what? Now people gonna hold you to that and they're gonna expect you to live up to it. So, like I said, it was a real festive event. You had the human jukebox. You got cheerleaders. You had Avery Johnson and Aeneas Williams. So, that's one good thing about it. Now, spinning it forward. Salute to my brother Jay Good. He and I was talking about this behind the scenes. Basically, those 2 jerseys I posted. The number 25 Sean Wallace jersey from back in the Gap. The number 17 Eric Randall jersey from back in the Gap. Basically, I was saying that, I talked about this in my 90 plane, and I think I'm going to kind of do a part 2 to the 90 plane. But I think, if I was Marshall Faulk, the jerseys they had, ain't nothing wrong with them, really wrong with them. All season they've been wearing white helmets. Saturday you came out with some gold helmets. Man, hey, I'll scrap the current uniforms, just completely do away with them. Instead of going with white helmets, I ain't gonna lie, the white helmets, I think the white helmets look better, they look cleaner. But I'll go with the gold helmets they wore Saturday. Those 2 jerseys I posted in the comment section. Hey, that's the jerseys I roll with, you know what I'm saying? Them throwback jerseys, you know what I'm saying? I wear gold helmets, Columbia blue, the Eric Randall jersey. I got that Columbia blue, gold pants at home, away, the gold helmet, that white jersey, and those gold pants. So that's what I roll with. And salute to Fierce 5304. She said, "Hold on, gang, it's coming." Oh, I already know. I'm trying to speak it into existence. You know what I'm saying? But basically, you need to go. You need to fully monetize and fully capitalize off of all of this momentum. Winning the Bayou Classic Saturday, it gave you momentum. Right after that, announcing Marshall Faulk is the next head coach, It gave you more momentum. And, now that you go into this next chapter, you know, you need to start trailblazing and increasing revenue and NIL and those type things. Because this conversation is basically a behind the scenes conversation that Jay Good and I had behind the scenes. Joseph David, he said, do you see any current coach being retained? No, in fact, they pointed out earlier, they officially fired Henry Miller, former Southern University defensive tackle, nose guard, DeMarcus Miller, former offensive lineman Damon Nivens, offensive coordinator Mark Frederick, and a bunch of other coaches. But all the coaches that they listed, Fred McNair was not one of them in terms of the coaches that were fired. So they got rid of a bunch of coaches on the coaching staff. You know what I'm saying? And Fierce 5304 said, let's get the fans back, make noise to support those young men, and give financially to the program. Oh, I agree with you 100%, Fierce 5304. But like I was saying, in terms of, Jay Good and I was having this conversation behind the scenes. Basically, he was saying, like, hey, you need to start trailblazing and increasing revenue in the NIL and such. Southern has a rich, storied history and storied legacy. You need to fully monetize on that. And you need to, like, rebuild your brand. And, in an effort to strengthen and rebuild and regrow your brand, you need to fully just, capitalize on that. And those jerseys that I posted, or the jerseys he texted, he was like, basically, Southern need to start putting out valuable jerseys and apparel, of Southern greats from the past. And of course, Scotty talked about this, but he talked about this earlier today, but Jay Good and I was talking about this last night via text. And he was saying, you need to have a Marshall Faulk 28 jersey. And he said, in addition to that, Sean Wallace was 25, and he passed this year in 2025. So he said you need to have a Sean Wallace jersey, an Eric Randall jersey, an Aeneas Williams jersey, a Mel Blount jersey, a Harry Carmichael jersey, like all the Southern University legends of the past, and other cats like Gillis Wilson, like Michael Hayes. Like, you need to have jerseys, and they all need to be like Bible jerseys. Of course, you need to have a Marshall Faulk jersey. You need to have an Aeneas Williams jersey, a Mel Blount jersey. But also, like I said, you got Southern University legends like Eric Randall and Sean Wallace and Quincy Richard and Bryant Lee. Like, you need to have a variety of different jerseys. They need to be like real nice Bible jerseys that you would want to wear. And he said, even if you reach like a likeness deal, whatever you need to do, you need to, basically capitalize on this momentum you have. You know what I'm saying? He said you got to do research, you got to have creative minds, and you need to get these jerseys made. You know what I'm saying? He said, people even need to have access to customizable jerseys, but just your basic jerseys need to be real nice. And if you strike a deal with like Nike, or whether you keep your deal with Under Armour, even if you gotta, do something different, but more than anything, you need to start with jerseys. You know what I'm saying? Southern needs to like move away from this current uniform pattern they have, and they need to come, like get some throwback jerseys, and not just regular throwback jerseys, but some real nice, buyable throwback jerseys. And you need to get a brand deal with one of these companies, and you just kind of need to do your thing. You know what I'm saying? And he said more than anything, they need to be forward thinking, and they need to think about rebuilding and growing your brand. And then he said, next, everything that entails Southern University, you need to kind of lead with that in terms of from a legacy standpoint, the program, the human jukebox, the law school, the school of business, the school of nursing, everything in totality in terms of like upgrading the buildings and facilities on campus. But you also need to come up with multiple streams of revenue, and you need to start thinking outside the box, and you need to tap into the fan base. You know what I'm saying? So, like, these are some things he talked about. He and I talked about behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? Uh, and he was saying, whether you get a deal with Nike, you keep your deal with Under Armour. You need to change some uniforms. You need to get maybe like some throwback uniforms. But more than anything, just like a real nice Bible uniform. You know what I'm saying? And more than anything, he was saying from a branding standpoint, he's never been like a huge proponent of, if you have like a recognizable brand, of constantly switching it up. He talked about like the Dallas Cowgirls. Of course, I can't stand the Cowgirls. Talked about the Dallas Cowboys. He talked about the Green Bay Packers, Alabama, like certain, even LSU, just say for example, because we know they hired Lane Kiffin. LSU, whether they're at home, they're on the road, they got a gold helmet, white jersey, gold pants, like 98% of the time. Same thing with the Dallas Cowgirls. Alabama got a certain brand. So more than anything, he wasn't a huge proponent of just constantly switching up jerseys. But I was saying you really got to move away from, at least in my personal opinion, to reestablish and to build your brand. You tap into the rich legacy and history you have as a program. You tap into that by getting rid of your current jerseys and bringing back some throwback uniforms. Keep your gold helmet as far as I'm concerned, but the jerseys I posted, you can capitalize on that. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, but you need to come up with with a collective. You need to come up with uh, multiple ways to raise money, and more than anything, from a branding standpoint, like from the ground up, you really need to rebuild your brand off the field, but on the field, you need to establish an identity. Like, what are you really gonna do from a first thing we established that you need an elite level quarterback, but in addition to an elite level quarterback, like, hey, what's really gonna be your identity as a team? How you gonna recruit? Of course, I've been a proponent of this for years. I think first thing you want to do is recruit the local Baton Rouge area, recruit the I-10 corridor from Baton Rouge to New Orleans, recruit the river parishes, St. John, St. James, uh, Donaldsonville to Thibodeau in terms of the Bayou Lafourche area. Recruit the state, recruit the region, and just recruit nationally. But we don't want you to just get players from certain schools just for the sake of getting players from certain schools. We want dogs across the board. And, the fact that he just became the head coach, he got to hit the ground running. He got to put together a coaching staff and the whole nine. And in terms of the defensive coordinator, he texted me and he was saying that he was listening to Scotty, and basically, I guess it's between Jason Rollins and Ryan Lewis. And he was like, man, look, over the last 20 years, if you don't coach at Southern and you're not attached to a SWAC championship team or a team that won a Black National Championship, like, it shouldn't even be a debate. No disrespect to Jason Rollins. Basically, he was saying, like, look, hey, you'd have been on the yard in the last 20 years and you ain't won nothing. Why are we even considering you? So he was saying, it should be Ryan Lewis, easy money. You know what I'm saying? But more than anything, he got to put together a killer staff. In addition to putting together a great staff, like, you really start after you really have to start to, build your brand, both on and off the field. And like I said, I touched on a lot of this in terms of my 90 playing video, but I'm gonna kind of elaborate more in terms of, how he should quickly put together his coaching staff. And in addition to that, like certain positions you really need to focus on from a recruiting standpoint. And like we said, the quarterback position needs to be at the top of the list. And then you kind of need to, move forward from that point. I mean, even if you are going to consider, getting players out the transfer portal from other SWAC schools, if they're not first team all SWAC, like super dogs, I wouldn't even want them to keep it a buck. No disrespect, but I mean, hey, if you're not first team all SWAC, like, what are we doing? So, really, at this point, it's going to be interesting to see how Marshall Faulk puts together his coaching staff. How does he recruit from a brand deal standpoint, from a sponsorship standpoint, in terms of NIL money, gathering a collective, and in terms of like the media attention, national attention, everything that Southern is going to garner now. How can Marshall Faulk, as the head coach, and Southern University as an institution, how can they, capitalize on it and fully monetize everything we talked about? You know what I'm saying? So, let me get back in to the comment section. Let's go back to Fierce 5304. She said, let's get the fans back, make noise to support those young men, and give financially to the program. Joseph Davis said, do you see any current coaches being retained? Probably for the exception of maybe, if he lucky, Fred McNair. I think they're whacking all the rest of them. Kendrick Wicker, 8828. He said top choice should have been did that. Yeah. Kendrick Wicker, 8828 said, I've been wanting that Quincy Richard jersey since 0304. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest with you. That Quincy Richard jersey, man, that jersey was nice. And not only that, but that was a throwback jersey also, Kendrick Wicker. So yeah. Bobby Harris, 3426. He got the laughing emojis. Salute to you. Fierce 5304 said, we need a it's our fault jersey. LOL. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's our fault. Falk around and find out. Like, those have kind of been popular phrases that I've seen in like 10 of the 15 Southern University Facebook groups that I'm in. And I'm in a bunch of them. And of course, for those individuals that trying to join our Facebook group, Southern University, the link is pinned to the top of the chat. It's also going to be pinned to the top of the comment section after the live stream goes off. So be certain to join our Southern University Facebook group. Fierce 5304 say, not jersey, t-shirt, jersey, just a sale. All right. Cornell Green, 8011, salute. He said Jason Rollins just lost to a team that had 10 losses and only completed 6 passes. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. He didn't do good as the interim head coach of Southern. And like you said, Grambling's defense, I mean, Southern offense struggled the vast majority of the season. Like, struggled just to move the ball. The fact that, he considering him to be the defensive coordinator, it's like, man, I'm going to keep it a buck. You could have damn near kept Henry Miller for that. I mean, if that's what we're doing. To me, if it ain't Ryan Lewis, what we doing? Now, I know people have thrown around the name Ed Reed, but, just to be honest, I don't think getting Ed Reed is going to be as simple as people might think it is. So, I'm not saying he wouldn't do it, but, he probably won't be the head coach of Southern, not the defensive coordinator. And that's just my opinion, you know what I'm saying? So it's going to be interesting to see, how Coach Faulk feels out, how he feels out his coaching staff, how he feels out his roster. You know, what are we looking like from a brand deal standpoint in terms of Southern University apparel and paraphernalia and Southern University gear across the board. And then not only that, you know, what type of relationships does Marshall Faulk form and build? How do they fill a roster? Because like I say, I mean, this window that we are in the midst of, like this is a real tight window. And, we know they're going to have the second window of, the transfer portal. But right now, I mean, hey, he right in the thick of it. From what I'm understanding, a couple of people told me this behind the scenes, he was able to flip a couple recruits, so on and so forth. But, I mean, from a recruiting standpoint, he has to hit the ground running, and he has to make up a lot of ground. Joseph David. Salute to Joseph David. Joseph David said, hoping to see Peyton Manning, Aeneas Williams, and Torrey Holt do some pro bono teaching sessions for Coach Faulk. All right. Well, I'm not gonna lie. One thing they always say about him. They said that about him this season at Colorado. They've been saying this leading up to the press conference today. People said it on the NFL Network. They were saying that he's one of the brightest minds from a football perspective, from a X and O standpoint. So, I mean, the way they talk, like he's pretty brilliant. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, Peyton Manning, Torrey Holt, Aeneas Williams wouldn't be able to help in that regard. But the way they talk, what they was talking like, Marshall Faulk on his own, standing on his own 2 feet. Basically, he's a brilliant football mind. And, we're going to see how sharp he is, but, it's the total package in terms of, putting together a killer coaching staff. And in addition to that, recruiting exceptionally well. Like I say, not only do you want to recruit, certain areas and certain parts of the state, however, you also just want to get savages, just dogs, you know what I'm saying? And, I talked about this ad nauseum in terms of like the identity of your team, in terms of personnel, so on and so forth. But at the end of the night, like he gotta do what he do. So he don't have a lot of time to get all of this going in the right direction. So, he gonna have to do his thing. So, but more than anything, I support the hire. A small percentage of Jaguar Nation think it's a mistake, but I support the move. Just to use a C. Wells line, salute to C. Wells. I'm gonna support the hire till I don't. So, as long as everything going the way I want it to go, I think we're gonna be fine. You know what I'm saying? Jay Good said there's only one transfer portal window now in college football going forward. January the 2nd through 16th. All right. He said after that you have what you have until National Signing Day. So I mean, like I said, he got to hit the ground running. I really think, he got to put, more than anything, I think he got to put the right coaching staff in place. You know what I'm saying? Man, salute to my brother, Big Joseph Townsend. He said, salute, coach. Man, salute, Big Joe. And for all those individuals that like to partake in indulging in spirits, whiskey, bourbon, please go to oldhillsidebourboncompany.com. We in the holiday season. I'm definitely going to get a bottle for my family members, bottle Old Hillside. Go check out Old Hillside Bourbon Company. Get your bottle for the holidays. You know what I'm saying? If you got a family member that like to drink, even if you don't like to drink, because I don't drink, but guess what? I know I got family members that like to drink. Christmas time, guess what? Old Hillside, you dig? So go check out my brother Big Joe Townsend, Old Hillside Bourbon Company. He part owner of that thing. Black-owned company. You know, we need to support each other in terms of group economics. You know, supporting Black-owned businesses. So, you know, go check out my brother Joseph Townsend, Old Hillside Bourbon Company.com. You did. But like I said to start the show, I was gonna be here for a good time, not a long time. Uh, you know, this is a pretty short show, but even with that being said, you know, now that Marshall Faulk is the next head coach at Southern, I'm just gonna let you know now. I got a lot of content coming out. First of all, I still got a lot of content from the 52nd Annual Bayou Classic. So the 2025 Bayou Classic, I got a lot of content that I didn't drop yet. So stay tuned for that. You know, got footage of the human jukebox. You know, I got pregame clips. You know, I got the whole nine. So y'all got to check it out. Not only that, I'm going to do a part 2 of my 90 plan, you know, in terms of things I think Marshall Faulk needs to do moving forward. In addition to that, I'm gonna talk about Cam Newton not having the same energy. You know, I didn't see nowhere where he had this salacious hot take when it came to the Egg Bowl, any of the scuffles they had during rivalry weekend this past weekend. You know, he really didn't. You know, he really didn't. He really had the same kind of energy that he had for Grambling and Bethune-Cookman. So, you know, I'm definitely gonna cook on that. And not only that, but I think I'm you know, this weekend have another episode of Bayou Sports Talk. You know, just talking about all things Southern University football. But be certain to come through on Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. HBCU Fanatics. Myself, my brother Jared 11 Green on his channel. We're going to further talk about the potential impact that Marshall Faulk is going to have on Southern University football. We also going to talk about the coaching carousel in the SWAC. And we also going to give our predictions on the SWAC championship game coming up this weekend between Prairie View and Jackson State at the Vet. So be certain to come through Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and check out another installment, another edition of HBCU Fanatics. But on this channel, I'm gonna keep dropping the content. So y'all keep y'all eyes open because I'm definitely gonna be dropping a lot of clips from the 2025 Bayou Classic. I got a lot of commentary in terms of Marshall Faulk, and I'm gonna compartmentalize a lot of videos in terms of specific things I'm gonna address, like one topic at a time. Like I see, I'm less than 25 subscribers away from the 1,000 subscriber mark. So if you have not done so already, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Kendrick Wicker, he said, question, how SWAC championship in Jackson if the record's the same? I mean, from my understanding, I think Jackson State just was the highest seed between the two, for whatever reason. I mean, I don't recall him playing head to head. Let me double check real quick. But yeah, is that the Vet? Do I know that much? I mean, I know that for certain. Let me see. Yep, it's definitely at the Vet. Ain't no two ways about it. Let me see. All right. I think it probably got something to do with I mean, I don't know. Let's see, Prairie View, they beat Texas Southern. They lost the University of Texas Rio Grande. They beat Rice. I'm sorry, they lost to Rice. They lost to Northwestern. They beat Grambling. They beat Alcorn. They beat Southern. They beat Lincoln. They beat Alabama State. They beat Alabama A&M. Beat the brakes off of Pine Bluff. They beat Valley. Well, I think the reason why is because that's a good question, Kendrick Wicker. Yeah, they beat Texas Southern. They beat Graham. They beat Alcorn. Well, I'm thinking they got some kind of tiebreaker. Prairie View lost to Alabama State. Jackson State beat Alabama State. And in addition to that, I'm assuming because Jackson State is ranked higher. In fact, Cornell Green, you must have read my mind. He said probably ranking. Man, salute to my brother Jared Lovin Green. I just was talking about him. Be certain to come through Thursday night. We gonna talk about it. But yeah, Kendrick Wicker, I'm thinking is either A ranking or because hey, Jackson State beat Alabama State. Prairie View lost to Alabama State. I'm thinking that probably it. I mean, that's the only other thing I could see. And by that logic, of course, Jackson State beat Alabama State head to head, but technically they have the same record also. So I'm thinking that's what it has to do with ranking or some type of tiebreaker. Maybe the ranking, the whoever the higher ranked team was the deciding factor in terms of the tiebreaker. But either way, Jackson State, and not only that, Jackson State the defending SWAC champs also. So maybe that has something to do with it. But either way, it's gonna be at the vet on Saturday. So we're gonna talk about it on HBCU Fanatics on Thursday. Like I said, tomorrow, I might have some type of other. Well, I'm definitely gonna have a bunch of shorts dropping from the Bayou Classic. I'm definitely gonna have some more content dropping in terms of other components of the hiring of Marshall Faulk, rebranding, that type of thing. And I'm gonna talk about the Cam Newton situation, HBCU Fanatics. I think we're gonna do another installment of Bayou Sports Talk on Saturday. So like I got a variety of different things coming up. But stay tuned to the channel. Everybody that came and showed love on Saturday, I just want y'all to know y'all are appreciated to the fullest. In addition to that, everybody's been rocking with the channel. All of my day one subscribers, I just want y'all to know y'all are greatly valued. Y'all are greatly appreciated. All the new subscribers, I just want everybody to know, like, I value y'all. I appreciate y'all. Had it been not for y'all just enjoying the content, giving me words of encouragement face to face, I probably would have been tapped out. But it seems like Southern University is in the midst of a resurgence, and I'm all here for it. And I just want y'all to know y'all appreciate it. But that's gonna be it for this live stream. I'm highlight all the comments in the comment section before I end the live chat. But y'all just have a blessed, phenomenal evening. I'll catch y'all on the rebound. Peace and blessings. And go Jags, you dig?